Wildlife. Wildlife is the decade-spanning love story of two conservationists whose dedication to each other matched that of their affection for our planet. Starting in 1993, risk-takers and seasoned business personalities Doug and Chris Tompkins used their millions, accrued from leading outdoor companies The North Face/Esprit and Patagonia, respectively, to preserve the ecological grandeur of millions of acres in Chile and Argentina by turning them into national parks. Doug and Chris are forces of nature in their own right, and their swelling saga has the grandiosity of the land they work to preserve. The documentary is told with humbled awe by one of their friends, Jimmy Chin, who co-directs this film with longtime collaborator and wife Elizabeth Chai Vasarhelyi. We know that Chin is close with them as he appears early on camera in the movie, taking a hike with Chris through the land at stake and which holds great, humbling beauty as either a backdrop or the subject of a drone shot. Chin did a similar hike with Doug before he passed in 2015. It becomes fitting how the movie, shot over 5 years, is loosely framed around this excursion that Chin did with Chris and their other friends. There's even some geeky gear talk before they begin, for good measure. While it has a personal touch of a love letter, this documentary is nonetheless the work of compassionate filmmakers who know any adventure when they see one. Chin and Vasarhelyi have a first-name familiarity with their subjects that goes deeper than a typical director-subject relationship, but they also seem to know Doug and Chris by their pet names, Lolo and Birdie. In the film's sweetest sequences, we learn about their massive affection for each other and how Doug courted Chris when they were both deep into their business ventures, and not yet philanthropists. Chris shares these stories with a glint in her eye, and Chin and Vasarhelyi accompany these moments with their personal messages to each other. Doug is fondly remembered in this movie, and we learn at the story's beginning about his passing in 2015. His side of the story is told by Chris and by select talking head interviews with their mutual friends like famed climber Rick Ridgway, and Yvon Chouinard, the co-owner of Patagonia with Chris, who donated the $3 billion company to help fight climate change in 2022. Doug was a hiker, a surfer, and a bold adventurer who stumbled into a business trajectory that led to co-founding The North Face and Esprit. The movie glosses over how one could go from being a hiking bum to becoming business savvy, despite many people doing just that, and made him millions. But that pursuit did not hold his passion, and he found a new one in his bold, controversial way of combating climate change. A story like this requires the nuance with which it is treated here, and Wildlife avoids becoming an ideological advertisement or biography about the people behind these beloved outdoor companies. And in revisiting this saga, which could have turned into a story of colonization, Wildlife is also convincing about how sincere these wealthy Americans were about buying Chilean land for the betterment of the Chilean people. Some of the movie even forays into making clear what they would do, giving their own millions and introducing farming, and later rewilding. But the movie understands why Chile would be so resistant. As one expert interviewed here says, mining is the salary of Chile. Still, even when it gets into the mechanics of this preservation, Wildlife does not feel like it's trying to sell you something any more than mindfulness about the planet's well-being.